Hey everybody, welcome to our summer midweek experience. We're so thrilled you decided to join us. And if you're just popping in on us, we're in the middle of a summer series called What the World Needs Now. The idea behind the series is it seems like our world is struggling to cope with the challenges of life and certainly the current cultural climate of our world. And we believe that Jesus has come to help us to experience what we all need most. And not only that, but to provide through his church what the world needs most in this season. And so we've been experiencing some of that content on the weekend, and some of it's going to be through these midweek gatherings, but it's all around the fruit of his Spirit. That this fruit of his Spirit are the things that the world needs most right now. And we've invited some outside voices and some experts on our weekend. And then during these midweek experiences, Steve Carter, our teaching pastor, and I are going to be joined by two of our pastor friends. Ben Snyder, he's the lead pastor of a church in Ohio, and Bree Johns, who served for over 12 years at Central Christian Church right here in Arizona. We're going to be having conversations around the fruit of the Spirit that we hope you find helpful and insightful for you and for the people around you. Now, as you're engaging with us, if you're live, join us in the chat, either on Facebook or on YouTube. We'd love to engage with you there in these conversations. But if you find these conversations helpful, please share them with your friends. And stick around to the very end, by the way, because our team has created some worship videos for you to experience at the end that are going to be worth sticking around for. So thanks so much for joining us. We look forward to engaging with you in this midweek experience. So in Paul's list of the fruit of the Spirit, the fourth one is patience. And it's ironic that I drew this one because I don't necessarily think this is my strong suit, but it's been so good digging into some of this. But I want to start with some definitions. So I found several different definitions of patience. Lots of people I've discovered define it different ways. Mm-hmm. So I picked three. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to rate yourself, each of you, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 based on these definitions. They're all different. So think about you and how would you rate yourself? Okay, let's start with the first one. The first one is, patience is the ability to tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset.
Can you define anger? Is it out loud anger or is it internal? I mean, just asking for Steve here.
I just need a number. What'd you say?
Like an 8.
8?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's good.
Oh, 8 is the good
8's
spectrum?
good, yeah.
Okay, then go the other way.
Sorry, so I should have defined the scale. So 1 being low, 10 being the best.
Oh, 10 being awesome at patience.
Yep.
Oh no.
The ability to tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset.
Depends on the day, but yeah, like a 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm in a hurry.
4.
Yeah, I'm probably a 3.
Yeah, I'm probably a 3 as well. And we're the ones that are having the discussion for everybody about
It's going to be really productive. That's why I got my notebook out.
So we can speed it up right now.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, second one. The ability to remain calm and not become annoyed.
0.
And not become annoyed when dealing with problems or difficult people. Ability to remain calm, not become annoyed.
Yeah, I'm probably 2.
2?
Just went down 1.
Probably 4.
4?
Oh, I don't know. When it involves like a problem person, I think it's like a 5 or 6 because I want to empathize. I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds really
I think I'm a little higher on that one too. I think I'm probably a 4 or 5. Still not great, but higher. Last one. The ability to give attention to something for a long period of time without becoming bored or losing interest.
I'll just go right down on the 1. I'll just go 3, 2, 1.
But that could be something that's really great.
It could be.
Like
It could be.
Like this is more of a focus question. Like that you could have focused attention for a long time, like in a book or in a movie or.
I would say it's probably not, if it's testing your patience, it's probably not something you're enjoying.
Okay, that's good, Joel. No, okay, I'll stay with 4 again.
You'll stay with 4.
4.
You're
Mine's about
consistent.
4, yeah.
4. I'm lower on this. I'm probably a 1 or a 2 on this. Like if it's not something I'm interested in, I lose attention really fast.
I would like to think I'm higher. I think I'm capable of being higher in all of those areas. But my reality is, if I pay attention to my inner dialogue, if it was displayed, it would be embarrassing.
Yeah.
It'd be embarrassing.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat, and it a lot of that is around. It's a discipline for me, but I want to talk about that because, while patience can be a discipline, some of it just feels very. And we've talked about this before. Like we're all like achievers and leaders, and like so we're impatient when it comes to things, and I think it's more than just a discipline. Like as we've talked about in some of the other sessions, like this is a fruit of the Spirit. This isn't about me trying to do something. This is about me allowing something to happen through me. And so we're going to get to that in a minute. So flip the question. How just in general, how patient would the people closest to you say you are? If they were to give you a number, the people closest to you, whether it's team or family or kids, like what would they say?
My
Number.
daughter just texted me. She said, on good days, I'm a 10, which, Lydia, thank you. You're
That's
something
awesome.
there. She's lying or something, She's trying to encourage me.
loves you.
On bad days, I'm a 2. So
So you have a wide range.
I have a wide range. Yeah.
That's good.
My wife would say if it's something me related, I'm very impatient. If it's like holding what I want to get or move forward and it's slowing me down, I'm very impatient. So she would probably say 2. If it's other external, it doesn't really affect me, but I can just like go with the flow. Like I'm not bad. But if it's
I can relate to
slowing
that.
my idea, my dream, my day down,
Yeah.
I'm probably a 1.
Yeah.
I don't know. My little boys would probably think that I have okay patience, we just go from one thing to the next, but my inner critic still, like from the external, I think maybe I'm not perceived as harshly as I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But I think I still am between the ranges of 4 to 2 when
Yeah. Yeah.
people see me erupt or whatever, yeah.
I think my wife would say that at home, and especially with our family, like she would give me a higher number in patience. I don't know, for whatever reason. I mean, our world's chaos at home. So like, I don't know, I have a high tolerance for that. It feels fun to me. So like, I probably have a lot more patience with that. But I think, my team, this would be probably one of the harshest things they would criticize me on. Because like, when I want something done, like I want it done now. Like and like what's the holdup? Like why isn't this already accomplished? So I think that's sort of how. So before we get into some of this content, what would you say if you had to say the area? Because so that was sort of me going first. Like I think I struggle with this most at work, in leadership. What would you say specifically for you? Like where is the area of your life you struggle with patience the most?
I see it in small ways. I was getting off the plane here, and the group in front of me it was taking forever. It's like, let me get the package off of the thing for you, because it's not that difficult. You know what I mean?
Been there.
And so I noticed that tape, and it's like, why is this such a big deal? Mm-hmm. Or my daughter was crying upstairs because the iPad wouldn't work. And the internal, like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe I have to deal with this again.
Yep.
Inside. At home, I see it, and what my kids need from me in that space is for me to be an empathetic presence, not an impatient, flustered, me-centered dad. And I think, I do okay in moments, but like my daughter even said, she knows, and she's not afraid to tell me on some days, man, we all feel the wake of your inability to suffer long, to be patient.
That's a good word. Like there is a wake to impatience.
There is.
Like it doesn't just follow in a steady stream behind you. Like it broadens, like, and it impacts. That's good. That's a good word picture. What about you?
Yeah, I think as an only child, I think I'm just very selfish. And so I think at times when somebody is slowing me down, like I always think it's really funny when you travel alone and then when you travel with your family.
Oh, yeah.
It is a 47-minute difference to get through TSA and like one bag, and I know everywhere to go, and then I'm like, oh, they're toasted. Like I left them like at B13, I'm at the gate already, and I have to like slow down. But like I think the piece for me is when my world is being interrupted, I'm not that flexible as I need to be or I can be, and that's something I need help with.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here, Joel.
That's why my notebook's open.
Pressure.
Oh, man.
What about you, Brie?
So driving. I'm from Southern California. When people drive slow, I'm like, don't you want to get where you're going? What is your deal? Like, let's not cruise. Let's get from A to B. I just got off airplanes too. It's the same thing. Like, why the jack? Is it so hard for y'all? Get your bags and like start moving or strolling. And just recently, I was on the phone with like a company that like owed us a refund. And I was on for like 30 minutes, like with the music playing.
Oh, it's the worst.
And just sitting there like, I'm trying to be cool, and they're like, hello, how are you doing? I'm like, hi, gritting my teeth.
Really? How am I doing? Or
do you really want to know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the inconvenience part of trying to be patient. And I know, maybe I'm the center of my universe in that. And so when something gets in the way, it's really, really hard to cope with that.
Yeah. I feel that exact same thing. It's funny when you bring up the airplane thing, because and you're talking about with your family, like it's funny, like when I have my family with me, it's sort of opposite. I'm super impatient. And then, but when I'm by myself and I see other families and I'm traveling, I'm like, you're good. I got 4 kids. Like I totally understand. Like, and
Why'd you have to go and bring that up?
I can
man?
be.
You're
well,
right.
well,
I'm the
it's
same
funny,
way.
But it's funny because it's like for some reason, with the people that are closest to me, it's like I'm actually way more impatient than I am with people that aren't, like that I don't know. And it's like, but I can be sympathetic because of, I don't know, because I've been there.
Right.
And I know that there's other people when I'm I'm like, why is your iPad still out of your backpack? Like we're getting off the plane, it's like, so I guess I'm sympathetic around that. Here's one of the interesting ideas, like as I was thinking about this, we all know this, cities are what drive, our culture is driven by city centers, like, and what happens in city centers and advances in our world, and particularly in technology, in the technological age, the primary value is efficiency. And in our world, we've been conditioned by something that is external to all of us, but we participated in, and it primarily, again, emanated from these city centers. But this drive for progress technologically has really risen a value that otherwise I don't necessarily think would have been a value. It's like, but we've been taught that like, you want to accomplish more with less, like accomplish more with less time. You want to be able to achieve more with less effort. And this is what technology does for us. And this is why technology sells and why it's something that's permeated our culture, because it's like less output, less input, way more output. Mm-hmm. And there's that ability to, now I can go further faster, I can accomplish more, I can make more, I can, it's this progress. And as some people do, they get a competitive advantage with this technology. Now other people feel like I've got to keep up with this. That's the whole technological age is trying to keep up with other people around us by utilizing this technology that helps us go further faster. So it's interesting though, because now I feel like more than ever, when people say that I always get skeptical, it's like, really, is this more difficult? And I didn't live in a different time period. So, but it feels like, even as I study history, now more than ever, that when something requires more of us for the same output, like if it requires more for the same results, there's something wrong with it. It's broken. Like the best example is our technology. I'm gonna use your phone, Brie.
Yeah.
So, when your phone, you open it up and your phone starts moving slow, It's like there's something wrong with it.
Broken.
Like, what's wrong with my phone? I restart it, I reset it, it's broken. Or I got to go to the Genius Bar. I got to take my computer. If your computer's not, if it's not working at the right speed or
That
the similar
rainbow
speed.
wheel.
The rainbow wheel of death. It's the spinning wheel of death is what I call that. It's that. Wi-Fi. When your Wi-Fi is slow, there's something wrong with it. There's something broken. There's reset. We do that all the time. So it's interesting because without realizing it, while we've raised this value of efficiency, we've said slow is negative. Like anything slow has become negative. And when you think about this, here's a few examples. And again, I would say there's a negative stigma around slow. When somebody has a low IQ, we call them slow. When we get bad service in a restaurant, we say it's slow. When you watch a movie that's boring or it's not capturing my attention, it's like it's slow. And so like we've had this, we've sort of been inundated. In fact, Webster actually, when in describing slow, the definition of slow, one of the definitions, mentally dull, stupid, naturally inert or sluggish, lacking in readiness, promptness, or willingness. And it's this speed of technology in our culture that we don't realize it. It works directly against the idea of patience. So tell me how you experience that. Like, how do you experience this hurry of our culture for efficiency that sort of, makes you feel like when you're slow or there's something slow in your world, it's broken. Where do you see that?
I just got my brother a gift for his birthday was yesterday on Amazon. And then I got the update that it was going to be delayed a day. And I was like, and I had bought it the same day, and I expect it to show up that day. And it's like living in the Jetsons, right? The efficiency that I depend on, that my groceries are going to be ready at pickup or my Amazon package is going to get there when I want it to be there. And it's the don't waste my time, but also like serve me in all these ways, like do this the way that I want it, the way that I need it. And it can be frustrating or stressful, but unnecessary.
Well, and there's an expectation like that shows like especially with like Prime Now. So like we have this expectation. Somebody created an expectation for us that you should be able to, and it's reasonable to think that if you order something today, it should show up at my house today,
Right.
or at the very least tomorrow, and we've been conditioned that way, and we get disappointed when it doesn't work that way.
It's fascinating because you were talking about the traffic in Southern California, and I grew up in SoCal as well, and everyone's in a rush to go nowhere, and they're just like change lanes, everyone's like
Just to
tight
get
grip,
around one car.
just like this the whole time, and
We don't know what that's like in Toledo.
Well, that's the thing though.
We can get anywhere.
Well, living in Michigan, and you have more of an agrarian culture, you have
Yeah.
more farm fields, and like people are like, I know I'm not leaving, so why rush? And there's older trucks and just older guys just driving, and you're behind them, and you sat there and you're just like, this is so disorienting for me because it's something my soul wants, but I don't know how to necessarily do it in the city center. I don't know how to do it when I'm tempted every day with, oh my goodness, like before when you're on the planes, talking about planes again, and we didn't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Now we have it,
Right.
and then you don't have it. And you're like, what is going? But like,
Why can't this plane communicate with space while I'm flying through the air? What
Elon
is
Musk, help me, Like, but it's this tension where, and you named it. I have an expectation of accessibility. I have an expectation of efficiency. I have this expectation that I've on an inner side put on myself, and now I can't deliver, or something's getting in the way of me being able to fulfill that, and I don't know what to do with that. And that for me is what bubbles it up. But you go to Grand Rapids and they're like, it's like they got the seasons. And this is a season for, winter and a season for spring. And there's just there's a piece to it. But it's just different.
It's that's such a great contrast in pictures, like because the more rural settings, the agrarian society that exists there, it values time. It values rest. It values a pace and a changing of seasons versus you know, in the city, like the weather and the change, it just gets in the way of things. Like it's like, you know,
think-
it's like the weather's good and everybody's outside enjoying the weather. And it's like we can't make progress. And when the weather's bad, it's like you can't get to where you need to go and fast enough. And it's like because we can't make progress. And sorry.
Yeah, I think that there's an element of that that's true, but I don't think rural places or Toledo is patient.
Yeah.
I just think it's different things that get in the way. It's not the traffic jam, you know. And that was what, you know, as I'm listening to examples, like I'm mowing the grass the other day and it takes me twice as long to mow the grass, and now I'm angry because I don't have margin for this. You know, it's like I don't have margin to wait 30 minutes on the phone for, you know, this tech to do whatever it is that they need to do. I don't have margin for that, you know. It's like now because this went slow, all of my free time later or the rest of my day is going to pay the consequences. So I'm going to make sure everybody else pays what I have to pay. That's
Or they at least know.
They at least need to know.
They're ruining my
Right.
day and my progress.
Or I come in and I give all the reasons why I'm late, and it's not my fault. You know, it's this and that and this and that. And some of it is my mismanagement. I am trying to fit, I think that was what I resonated with. I am trying to fit more in with less margin and a less realistic expectation of what is healthy or capable in that season. And I do that with my kids. I do that, you know, like you should have known to have that iPad in the bag as we were. They've never flown before. You know what I mean? Or like they're not. So I do that all the time.
Yeah, that's good. You know, it's interesting. This is the fourth in the list of the fruit of the Spirit, and there's this really ironic thing when you get to, you know, love, joy, peace, patience. And it's like, oh, well, I'm not really, especially as a leader, like it's something I realize like I don't really value that much. But I do value love and joy and peace. And impatience and hurry is completely incompatible with those. Like, isn't it true that like, you know, when you experience like a deep, loving, bonding moment or this incredible sense of joy in a moment, an experience, or a, you know, a sort of this profound sense of peace. Like you don't want that to hurry. You want to slow down. You want to linger. We want to linger there. Like, so like just for the sake of like lingering here for a moment, like tell me about a time like you just thought like, this is going too fast. I want to slow this down. Like, you didn't have any trouble being patient because it was like there was something you were experiencing that you just thought like, I don't want to miss this. I don't want to hurry through this. I want to enjoy this. What comes to mind?
I always love like the lead up to Christmas morning, all the planning and stuff, and then the morning is over so quickly, and I just want to sip my coffee and savor my kids and my husband and just the music because it's over. Like, put the tree away, everything's done.
Yeah.
And music's over, you know, now we're in January.
Wow.
And that always,
true.
Yeah, or just like on vacation. I feel like vacations go by really fast, especially those last couple days when you're like, we're just on the beach, you know, and it seems like the afternoon just flies by and you got to start packing again.
Yeah.
And those are so hard. Like, just want to live in that space forever.
It's good.
I was gonna say the vacation. You know, I love when we go on vacation to find like a new restaurant that we've never been to, and we heard of this place. It's like this farm and called Flora Farms, and we went recently, and it's like in the middle of this just like amazing, like beautiful, like flowers and sunflowers, and it's like ice cream shops and like just this restaurant in the middle of nowhere. And it literally was one of the best meals I had. And I just was sitting here going, oh, this is gonna end. And I didn't want to, and I'm usually a very quick eater. And I was like, I don't want this pork chop to end. I don't want this fried chicken. We're sharing meals.
Yeah.
And it was just this moment of going, I know that we're one meal closer to the vacation ending, but I don't want this vacation. I don't want this meal to end, but I also know it's, you know, and so it's just all of that. That was probably the last time I wanted to use the word savor, wanted to really savor.
That's good.
I think when you ask the question, what's embarrassing for me is I even in moments that I know I should savor, I struggle. I just sit there and go, I should probably be productive. There's something else I should be doing. And so when you asked, it's like, well, I can think of vacation, but what I spent most of vacation doing was trying to also be productive and unable to sit there and actually be there sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's like I think this is an area where I am missing the fruit of where God wants me to live from. And it seems so elusive to me that even if you were to tell me, Ben, go and spend the rest of the afternoon, about 20 minutes in, I'd be looking at my phone like, there's something I should be doing, or whatever. It's just hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
I feel like I get that a lot from moms that are ahead of me in life that will
Yeah.
say, like, when I'm complaining about my kids
Yeah.
being this or that, especially when they were toddlers, and like, you're gonna
gonna
miss
miss
this
this.
one day, and you actually
Hate
look
that
back.
song.
Yeah, you see those. Like John Mayer, "Stop This Train." Right? Stop This Train. That's my dad and I. That's our song together. And like, just as life it goes quicker almost
Yeah.
at the end. And when I look back at little baby Brody and Deacon pictures, and I'm like, I miss those little boys, and they're gone. Like,
Yeah.
they're not there
Yeah.
anymore. There's these,
Yep.
kids now. I feel like the resounding response from all moms ahead of me is just, I know it's, just enjoy this.
Yeah. Everybody who lives here in Arizona that's watching this is going to call me a liar, but summer evenings, there are so many times we're sitting in the backyard and all the kids are playing. We're all in the pool, hanging out in the pool, because you have to be in the pool to survive here in the summer. But I'm not trying to get summer to be over fast.
Was that a complaint? I'm just checking from Ohio.
Well, for the people from Ohio,
shut
they
up.
don't realize it gets 120 here in the summer. So,
I don't care. Okay.
But it's those moments where it's this isn't a complaint. It's I'm just I don't want to go to tomorrow. I don't want tonight to end. We'll just hang out there all afternoon and evening, and usually it's after work. I come home and kids are like, let's get in the pool, and we stay out there and grill out, and it's hot, it's crazy, but it's one of those. You brought up meals. Steve and I shared a meal with our wives not long ago, and that was a meal it was in a great place, and the funny thing was it wasn't short. We were there a long time, but it felt like when it was over, it felt like that was too quick. I wish that would have gone a lot longer. So Dallas Willard, some people who are listening might be familiar with Dallas Willard. He's sort of been made famous for this comment he made about hurry in our lives, that it is the great enemy of the spiritual life in our day. Before he passed, that idea impacted a lot of leaders, specifically a guy named John Mark Comer, who wrote a book. In fact, I know some of you, have you guys all read that book?
Yep.
The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, which is a hard thing for me to say. But it's the best book I read last year. And honestly, when I first saw the book, I thought, oh, that's for people who need an excuse for why they don't make progress. It's sort of oh, you just slow down and don't worry about, it was just sort of I was sort of cynical about it. And then I read the book and I realized I really need this. And it was one of the most profound ideas, and you talked about this just a couple minutes ago. It's not that having a lot to do is bad.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk about that. I sort of expected him to go don't fill your life up with things. And it's not really what he's saying. It's it's okay to have a lot to do. The problem is when you have too much to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have too much to do, the only way to fit it all in is to hurry.
Yep.
And I'd never thought about, personally for me, of hurry and the need for patience, and as Willard says, ruthlessly eliminating. That's what he said. That's where the book title came from. The ruthless elimination of hurry is one of the most spiritual things you can do in your life. And I just never, I don't know about you guys, I never thought about that as a spiritual practice. I thought that was lazy. We talked about earlier, that feels what do you do with your life? That's for people who can't make progress. And it's like, I don't know, like
If you were to ask like me to give like, what do I think the enemy of the Christian life is? I don't think hurry would have even come on my radar. If you were to ask the average person or the average Jesus follower, what do you think the great enemy of the Christian life is? Sin, the government, Satan, what? I mean, we would have all of these external things. And so, there isn't, it took me a minute, just like you're describing, to go, why is that an enemy?
Yeah. Yeah, and in the book, he sort of unpacks that. Like he talks about, and it all comes back to this idea of attention. That what we give our attention to ultimately is what we give our hearts to. It captures our hearts. This is a biblical principle. And where we give our attention, that's where we give our devotion, and then that's where our heart follows. And I just thought, like, that's what began to challenge me in this book. And one of the things he says, is that our time is really our life, and we did a series on this here at Mission where we talked about time and all of the moments of your life added up equally your life. Your time is your life, and what we give our attention to is what we're devoted to, and that sort of determines what your life's about. But this is what John Mark Comer says about this. He says that both sin and busyness have the same effect in our lives. They cut off our connection to God, to other people, and even to our own soul. They make it so we're inattentive. When you're busy, you can't pay attention to what is God saying? How is God leading? What is God doing? I can't pay attention to the needs of other people and relationships in my life. I can't pay attention to what's going on in my own soul. I'm too busy and distracted by that. And
so good.
He actually quotes Corrie ten Boom, who's a missionary, and she said that if the devil can't make you sin, he'll make you busy. And like that's his point. It's like it's the same thing. And it leads to the same thing because sin is actually something that disconnects us from God, from our attention to God and our devotion to God and to the people around us that God's placed in our lives, and even to our own souls. So I wrote down a couple questions. I'm curious, like how have you ever considered this a spiritual practice, like the idea of practicing patience as a spiritual practice, as something that like, or in John Mark's words, like rooting out hurry in your life, making sure that you have enough to do and you have a full plate of, sort of your portion of what to do, but not too much to do. Like, how does that interplay with your spiritual life or spiritual practice for you?
I heard you guys talk a little bit about savoring moments, and so I think gratitude and patience have they may be cousins.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, I am going to take this moment in, and I think I can savor moments like minutes at a time. Well, but I really think for me, the idea of the spiritual discipline of patience is about long suffering. It's about not allowing the uncomfortable. Really, probably the biggest word is inconvenience of the moment. Mm-hmm. To dictate the well-being of my soul. And so when I have to wait or I have to interrupt what I'm doing to go somewhere else, when I allow that to be the driver of how I'm feeling about life or the day or the barometer of how my reactivity, there are times, and it's not like I go, hey, I'm gonna find 3 lines to wait longer in. But when I feel myself start to go, I cannot believe I'm gonna have to wait in this line, I sense God's Spirit go, it's a good opportunity to trust me here when the traffic isn't going the way that I wanted. A few months ago, like message prep, into like a recording session, into like a feedback session took way longer. And I just felt God's Spirit going, trust me, it's okay. Stop getting, don't be reactive. Be patient. Life is still good. This is still worth it. And I think that's where you start to see the fruit of the Spirit really work together, where it's like when you remember that life is worth living, then you can surrender my need to make more progress here. And suddenly it's like, I can turn down the internal RPMs.
Well, and what you just said is really interesting. It's like, because I struggle with that same thing. It's like, but I'm not I don't feel like I'm making progress here. And it's almost like the Lord's going, no, you're not, but I am.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
working
good.
Here.
That's good.
I'm producing something. I'm making
Ben, you
progress.
think it's all on you.
Yeah, you think it's on you. Like,
Oh, good, yeah.
How narcissistic of us. Like, it's like, I got to do this. But it's like,
There's a line.
I'm doing something.
There's a line in the story of Esther where Mordecai says, hey, God will save his people if you don't step up. But this might be the thing that God brought you for. Yeah. And man, I was teaching through that the other day, and it's like, God's going to do what God's going to do. It's not all on you.
Yep.
So stop putting the Messiah complex on yourself, that you have to get it all done, and instead trust that God can move the ball down the field when and however he wants to. Patience, okay. Yeah. Internal RPMs back down.
Yeah.
I think there's almost like a bunch of different circles that kind of hover around patience for me. I don't think I've, early on you asked where we're at, and I said a 4. I think for much of my life I would have been a 0.5. I'm always going.
That's a lot of progress.
Yeah. But I think part of over the last couple years, really, probably the last 7 years, introducing a Sabbath, where my identity and my worth isn't found in what I produce. Mm-hmm. If it works for Chick-fil-A, I think it can work for me.
Yeah.
And I just,
they're doing all right.
I think to almost slow myself down intentionally, and really what you were talking about, Ben, like a longer line at the grocery store or at the bank used to upset me. Now it's like, when I feel myself getting upset about it, it's like, okay, God, I still have a long way to go. And so I think it's the Sabbath as a practice for me that's been helpful. But I also think it's like if you tell me what's important to you, the first thing I'm going to ask is, show me your schedule.
Yeah.
And you can say this is what you want in your life, but I want to see your schedule. Yeah. And I think margin and like filling my life not to 110%, which is impossible, but I could find a way. Yeah. But going 75%. So I have margin to have more of those spaces to go, oh my goodness, I don't have to rush from thing to thing. Yeah. It's been Sabbath and margin have been the 2 words that I think have created better opportunities for me to experience exhale moments or patience. I still have a long way to go though.
Yeah. No, those are both good words and good practices.
So. I like when you said that like our impatience is what keeps us from being focused on God. And so I wasn't thinking about busyness when you were saying, when did you spend, like in your life, you spent like a really focused time on patience? Like when was that really apparent to you? And this might speak to people who are listening right now who are single. I had planned to be married to a man when I was 21 and he had left. And then after that, I got to be patient watching, being bridesmaid after bridesmaid after bridesmaid in these weddings, and just like, how long, oh Lord, like who's for me? And it's so funny my story is that I married the boy around the corner, like he's lived around the block from me, just had no idea because my patience kept my focus, my impatience took my focus from, what was really good in my life. And so when I talk to single girls and guys and trying to encourage them in their singleness that, hey, you are going to have adventures right now. Yeah. Stuff that I'm going to be married the rest of my life. And you this is a really sweet time, and it's just a season, and the patience can help keep you. I mean, the impatience will keep you distracted from really enjoying that season in your life.
That's right.
That's so true. If you're impatient in that season, it's not going to get any easier when you're married. It's just going to move.
Exactly.
Isn't it true though that we most often even it's easy for us to like sort of talk to other people about that, but like I usually think when it comes, and maybe I'm alone in this, so maybe you all look at me weird, but I've always thought about patience as like, oh, that's for me with other people. Like I need to be patient for the sake of somebody else. I think that was the big eye opener for me with this book is like, no, patience is for me. Like oftentimes like, oh, I need to be patient with my kids so I don't like scar them for life. I need to be patient with my wife so I don't wreck our marriage and like make her upset. I need to be patient with other leaders so that they have room to grow and space to grow. And it's like, no, patience and a lack of hurry is something I need for the sake of my attention and my health and my growth. Like it's not a sacrifice I make for others. It's a spiritual discipline to some degree that allows God's this fruit of the Spirit to come out in my life. And stopping the hurry is what produces the patience. It's like, sometimes I get to choose to stop hurrying, and sometimes God goes, nope, you're gonna stand in this line because you have to go through this process, and I'm gonna stop your hurry so that I can start to bring this patience out of you. It leads me, and I sort of want to conclude this, it sort of leads me to one of my favorite Psalms. And the reason I love this Psalm is because of what we get out of it. And that's where I started, and I'll get to that in a minute. But in this Psalm, there's actually a process. It lays out a process for us about how we practice patience. Because the hardest thing for me about practicing patience or eliminating hurry in my life is when I see other people passing me by. Wow. Like when other people are making more progress than I am in career or in family or in their accomplishments. And it's hard for me to be patient because I want to keep up. It's that whole technology thing. It's the same idea of like, well, I'm doing something wrong because this is going slow. I got to be more productive. And it's like in those moments, for me as a leader, like I struggle with what do I do here? And Psalm 37 gives us the answer. Like, so this is Psalm 37. It's, again, as I told you, it's one of my favorites. It says, do not fret because of those who are evil or be envious of those who do wrong. And that's sort of these are people that I go, like, they're cheating. Like, they're doing all the wrong way. They're taking shortcuts and they're getting ahead.
They're speeding.
Like, I can't
Where's
be
the cop?
patient. Yeah, like, exactly. They're driving down the shoulder. Like, you can't do that. Like, I'm in a hurry too. I'm trying to get somewhere and you're going down, you're going to cut in, you're going to slow me down more. So don't worry about those people. For like the grass, they will soon wither. And I confer that on them as they go by. Like green plants, they will soon die away. So here's what we're to do. And this is the process. We're trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Take delight in the Lord. And here's one of the benefits. This is one of the reasons I love this. And he'll give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will do this. He will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord. And then finally, the command to, and wait patiently for him. And I think this describes a waiting that's active. It's not passive. If you notice the language, and I like music, and so like I love the staccato nature of this. Like it's like, hey, there's all these little things to do. Like if you're going, hey, patience is boring, it's hard. Like so, you're just saying I just sit here and still and do nothing. It's like that's not what the psalmist is saying. He's saying, hey, you should trust in the Lord. So what does it mean? What does it mean to lean your weight on the Lord in those moments? You should do good. It doesn't mean you stop all activity. It's like, hey, there's good things all around you, good things to do. There's good things right in front of you. Don't miss the good that's right in front of you. Dwell in the land. This is one of my favorite ones. I read an author that talked about this specific, and I can't think of her name right now, but this specific line, and she talked about, this is about dropping an anchor. This is about being settled. This isn't about like, hey, you're impatient, so you're going to move on, or you're going to move to the next town, or you're going to jump ship and go to the next career. It's like, no, this is when you drop anchor and you put down roots and you settle in and you go, God's doing something here. You dwell in the land where you're at. Enjoy safe pasture. You savor what's right in front of you. You don't get fixated. This is what you were talking about a moment ago about even your own life. Like the guy was right around the corner.
Right.
Like, and you're looking like, where is this? And where is this next season I can get to? And enjoy safe pasture. Take delight in the Lord. Find satisfaction in him. And I always think this is interesting too, because, you know, when we delight in the Lord, like that changes us. And I don't think it's any coincidence. The very next thing he says is he'll give you the desires of your heart.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's like, oftentimes the desires of our heart are the wrong desires. And when I begin to delight in the Lord, he changes my desires. And then I ultimately get not what I wanted, but what I really needed.
Exactly.
And what God knew I needed, even when I didn't know what I needed or what I wanted. Commit your way to the Lord. I think of this as a daily check-in. This is a practice. This is a practice for me that happens quite regularly. I don't want to say daily, but quite regularly. I'll just pray. I'll be driving on my way into work, and I'll just go, Lord, okay, this is where I'm headed this week. It's usually on Mondays or early in the week. This is where I'm headed. Like, this is where I'm headed this week. This is what I feel like I'm trying to accomplish. And like, if I'm going in the wrong direction, like, rescue me. Like, throw up a roadblock. Like, divert me.
Right.
Turn me around. Like, I think when I think about committing my way to the Lord, it's like, okay, I have a way I'm going. And like, if it's not the right way, like, I'm committing it to you. So like, I'm giving it to you, but like, this is the way I'm going. Like, is it the right way?
Yeah.
And I think there's a daily practice in that. Commit your way to the Lord. Be still before the Lord. In some cases, it's like, just stop. Stop everything for a second. Like, not forever, but like, just stop. The most annoying thing about Apple Watch to me is when it tells me to breathe.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that like, I found this like, okay, wait, literally I'm gonna stop and you want me to watch this thing and breathe with it? And then I did it, and it was like,
Oh, you're smart.
somebody knew what they were doing when they put this on the
knows
watch.
when your
It's
blood
like,
is boiling.
I need,
think.
like, in the most needed moments, it's like, and it's like, and then the last thing is like, and wait patiently on him. And it's like, so the funny thing I think about this psalm is, like, once you work through all these things, it's like, and I don't want to equate it to like a 12-step program, but like, these are steps that you can work through
Yeah.
as you're learning patience. And it's funny because, like, most of the time I think the reason I hate being patient is the waiting. Because it doesn't feel productive, it doesn't feel active. It's like, what do I do? And it's like, the psalmist is going, oh, there's all sorts of things you can do.
What's the first line? What was the first line?
Trust in the Lord. Oh, do not fret.
I think
not
that's
fret.
that's my issue. Because my impatience is tied to worry, and anxiety
That's good.
under the surface, and so I don't know. There was just something about that that's like, yeah, that's my issue. He's like, hey, so you're hurrying, you're impatient because you're worried about something that you can trust me for, that you can see that I'm going to do, that you can dwell and So that's really rich for me. Oh, I just hit my mic. Sorry.
That section is bookended by fret. So it starts with do not fret, and then right after wait patiently, it's like do not fret when others succeed.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the fretting,
Yeah.
and then how do you live well in the midst of a
A
frettering
life full of worry.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But I just kept thinking
Surrounded
about that,
by
like,
worry.
Yeah, like you think about
When you're
those
surrounded by worry.
8 steps that you just rattled off. Like you're at Fry's or you're in traffic, and you're like, okay, like do I trust? Can I still do good even when this person
Yeah,
is
that's
going
so
so
good.
slow?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
and just it's a real helpful tool. I feel like it's really it's
Well,
a
and
gift
even
for me.
I wanted to keep going through. We won't go through all, but like even the dwelling, it's like, why am I trying to escape this?
Yeah.
It's for my benefit.
Yeah.
What am I afraid of? What like, do I not trust the Lord? And
Yeah.
is there not something
So
good
good.
here right in front of me? Can I not trust him for that? Like, so I just love this. And I actually think, a really great a practice would be, especially when we're trying to grow in patience, is to work through these and like write out a sentence. What does it look like for you to trust the Lord? What does it look like for you to do good? What does it mean for you to dwell in the land? Like, because I think it's different for everybody. And so like, what's a one sentence or an active thing you can do? And the thing that's for me was the big aha connected to Psalm 37 was, once you do all these things, it doesn't feel like you're sitting around doing nothing, waiting.
Yeah, that's good.
Like patience becomes a lot easier because it's like I'm actually participating with what God's doing, and that's when I think the fruit comes out of our lives. It's not, again, as you made this comment earlier, it's like it's not something I'm trying to do or I'm producing. I'm participating, and God produces this in my life, and so. I know that this is something that I need, and probably we all need more of. Obviously, we were rating ourselves 2s, 3s, and 4s for most of our patients. But I think when I think about what's at risk, at the end of the day, and this is John Mark's work, and I want to give him credit, but like it's really comes down to our devotion, like what we're really devoted to, and what gets our attention, and I think in our world is at least more than any other time in my life, I feel hurried and distracted, and we miss everything about the intimate relationship God wants with us and the healthy relationships he wants for us with others around us, and even being able to pay attention to our own soul and what's happening in our own lives when we're overcome with hurry. So my prayer for us and for you and for the people who are listening is that we'd practice this spiritual discipline, this idea of eliminating hurry of our lives, so that we can experience all that God wants for us in our lives.
I count on one thing: the same God that never fails will not fail me now. You won't fail me now in the waiting. The same God who's never late is working all things out. You're working all things out. Oh yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Oh yes, I will. I count on one thing: the same God that never fails will not fail me now. You won't fail me now in the waiting. The same God who's never late is working all things out. You're working all things out. Oh yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. For joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Oh yes, I will for all my days. Oh yes, I will, and I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names, and nothing can stand against, and I choose to praise. Stand against, and I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names, and nothing can stand against, and I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names, and nothing can stand against. Oh yes, you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Oh yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy. Oh,